You didn't have to sneak that back in there. The Los Angeles Lakers are up 3-1.
Let's go Lakers. Let's go Lakers.
Did the Warriors lose this game or did the Lakers win it?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's an interesting question. I hadn't heard that angle.
Steve Kerr's been fiddling with the lineup since the series started. You start Looney game one. You said he had an illness and you benched him for JaMychal Green. You start him game two. In game three, you went ahead and started Gary Payton Jr. Or game four, you started JaMychal's 2 games in a row. And then game 4, you come and start Gary Payton Jr. So do you think that the Warriors lost the game last night or the Lakers won it? Me personally, I think it's more so on the Warriors.
Really?
I thought last night was on the Warriors. I feel like they had that, or the night before, I'm sorry. They had that game. And then fourth quarter comes around and my cousin from around the way dropped 15 points.
Shout out to Lonnie. Not the first, not the second, not the third.
Random. I mean, the fourth. The fourth. So, I mean, and on top of that, I guess kind of to add something to that, and I saw something when my homegirls on Facebook mentioned that people are talking about that Steph Curry isn't getting any help. He has help. They haven't been playing.
They go. There they go.
Every time you bring hey, that was a perfect clip.
Now, and she's totally right. So there's a difference between not getting help and guys not playing well. Jordan Poole and Klay Thompson just ain't playing well consistently.
You told me Klay Thompson could lead a team to a playoff.
He can.
I don't think he can.
I think he could before the injury.
Absolutely.
Bro, he could before the injury.
Now,
Post-injury Klay is different, man.
Yeah, now again, we seen what Klay could do. We watched game 2. And since then, it's been Steph, and hopefully he gets some contributions where it hasn't been the same for for the Lakers. Now, I do think the Warriors just lost that game because it wasn't AD or LeBron that took you home. If you're going to lose, I don't mind AD going off and scoring 15 in the fourth, or LeBron scoring 15, or even D'Lo, because I know that he's capable of doing that. But little pistol starter from Jordan Park shouldn't be dropping 15. There's no way.
I think you're wrong. And this is one of the and I disagree. This is why when people ask me, and my little bro Cam asked me this, I think after game 2, he's like, do you think the Lakers are a championship team? And I said, yes. And he disagreed. He didn't argue with me. He didn't tussle, but he disagreed. And part of the reason why I told him I think the Lakers are a championship team is because of this depth. Like, Lonnie Walker was a double-digit per game scorer in San Antonio. He was a guy who could do this. I watched him play at Miami.
Former first-round pick.
He was a 4-star recruit, a first-round pick, a one-and-done. He could have stayed in college and developed his game a little bit more under Coach L, but he didn't. Like, Lonnie Walker, he's uber athletic. Now, can he do it every night? No. Mm-hmm. He can't do it every night, but that's really the cool thing about this team. He doesn't have to. Like, D'Lo didn't have a good night last night, and it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Austin Reeves has had a couple of bad games in this series, and it didn't matter. LeBron, I thought, has had a bad game or two in this series. Didn't matter. AD had a bad game in this series. We lost that one, but he had a bad game. So that's the thing about this Lakers team. Yeah, okay, Bron, when he chooses to be Bron, he will. Mm-hmm. AD, when he chooses to be AD, he will. But then, will D'Lo have a game tonight? We've seen a D'Lo game. We've seen an Austin Reeves game. In the last series, we saw a Rui Hachimura game. We've seen Dennis Schroeder games. And now we've seen a Lonnie Walker game. Those guys have that ability to do it every now and then. Now, they can't do it every night. Mm-hmm. That's the difference between your good players and your stars, right? Your role players are the guys that can't do it every night. If they could, they'd be stars, right? They'd be LeBron and Anthony Davis. So when I look at Lonnie show up like that, Lakers fans have been asking for Lonnie. Mm-hmm. When he fell out of the rotation, they were like, why? The new shiny toy showed up in Malik Beasley. It never grew legs. And since then, Lakers fans have been like, where's Lonnie? Give Lonnie those minutes. Troy Brown, he's a pretty decent defender. He works really hard defensively. Lonnie has always been able to score. He hadn't played good defense. Now, that's been the surprise about Lonnie. He's played really good defense the past couple of games, and that is why he'll stay in the rotation. The knock had been, yeah, you can score. You might go give me 20. I think he did it against Dallas this year, gave us like 25 or something like that. But he was so bad defensively. Well, now he's putting in effort defensively. I'm not overly, you don't expect it in that moment. I can't say like, oh, yeah, Lonnie finna just turn up. Not that at all, but I'm not surprised to see Lonnie go off and get some buckets.
I got you. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I'm with you on that because even before the playoffs started, I said the Lakers can go deep if the bench play well. If we get what we get normally out of AD, I think we have the deepest bench in the playoff. And like you mentioned, another guy will step up every other night off the bench that we don't expect. But on the Golden State side of things, where is Mr. $100 million, Mr. Jordan Poole? I think that's the glaring thing in this series right now. His shot's just been broken. And last year, we kind of allude to him as being like a lesser version of Steph Curry, but elite. And it's kind of, once he got that contract, he hasn't been the same guy. And I think for them to win tonight, he's going to have to go north of 15 points. We know that Clay isn't going to have it. Clay is going to come out raining threes. He's going to come out shooting. So we're not concerned about Clay because we know what he is on a consistent basis over the years. Steph's going to be Steph. I think Draymond will be more aggressive, but for them to win, Jordan Poole's going to have to come up big because they don't have a lot outside of him on the bench. We haven't seen Kuminga. I don't think we'll see him in this series. And I think Steve Kerr, he's got his core of guys that he's going to stick with and rotate them. And if we're going to go bench against bench, Jordan Poole, he's going to have to carry the load on that bench.
I think in a weird way, before the season started, when you were asking what the keys to this series was, and I mentioned that this is the first time that I think that the roles were reversed, where the Lakers have the better, or LeBron's team has the better defense, and that's showing up.
Right,
like we're seeing that, right? But I guess to me now, the reason why I was disagreeing with what you were saying, why we disagreed, was championship teams. You always see where somebody off the bench or the depth of your team makes a difference. We've seen it with several championship teams, right? However, if I'm going to live and die with this guy or a guy that can do it, the Warriors still aren't a bad defensive team. They can still play defense. So again, if AD goes off, if Steph goes off, if Clay had gone off the way Lonnie did and he dropped 15, or Jordan Poole, or you're not expecting the DiVincenzo game. No. So to get that, cool. That means, okay, cool, I got good depth. I got some good production off the bench from my guys. Cool. But to drop 15 in a quarter, it's not 15 for a game. Not a game.
Most ever since Kobe
right?
in a quarter.
We're talking about one single quarter. So if I'm a championship team, this is why I say the Warriors blew. Like, how can you not stop this one guy? Not for a game, for a quarter.
Well,
now,
the reason why they couldn't stop him is because they didn't expect him to get any buckets either, and that's why they put Steph on him. Steph is a better defender than he used to be, but Steph is not a great defender. When you got a guy like Lonnie, who's very athletic, he gets a lot of lift on his jumper. That, for a guy like Steph, he's not really contesting that shot. And if Lonnie's one of those guys, if he gets hot, Steph's not gonna do it with him. And I got one other thought on Steph though. The other thing I think about Steph is you also got to realize what they've done differently. They realized in game 2, at the end of game 1, really, putting Steph on ball is much more difficult for the Lakers to defend. In game 1, when Steph was playing off ball, we put Vando on him. Vando did a great job chasing him, challenging him. And then at the end of that game, they said, all right, we'll put Steph on ball and run pick and roll. And the Lakers have up and down struggled with that. But that's a lot of work on Steph. So now I think he got to the end of the game, and I think his legs were a little heavy. He's not used to being on ball that much. He's been on ball heavy games 2, 3, and 4 now.
I think it'll. The Golden State Warriors should keep doing that though, because if you notice early on in the game, there was a lot of wide open basket.
But they have to do it. They don't have a choice. That's been their best offensive set, putting Steph on ball and then running the pick and roll from there.
They just got to make shots because they got the shots.
But is he worn out at the end of the game from doing that?
That's the sacrifice you have to take in this series, and then maybe if you make it out of this series, you could go back to Steph being off ball.
So I guess in a way, to me, again, going back to that question that you asked, I think Steve Kerr is a really good coach. I think that you have championship players that know the way that they need to play. We've seen Kobe do it. We've seen Jordan do it in games like this where first and third quarter they find their way. They rest on defense. They turn it up second quarter because they know their team needs them to do that, right? Fourth quarter, we've seen Kobe, we've seen Jordan, we've seen LeBron, they go off in the fourth because that's when you need me the most. Use me in spurts. So if Steve Kerr is going to do this come fourth quarter, and if you don't think that Curry has enough gas, or you see him getting lit up for 12 minutes, well, you got to make a change, Steve.
Right. But they eventually did.
It was too late.
Well, they did, but what happened was they switched. They put Clay on Lonnie, but then now you had Steph on Dennis, and now LeBron he's hunting that switch still. Right. So you tried to hide him on Lonnie. Lonnie starts going off, so now you hide him on Dennis, and then now LeBron is hunting him for the switch.
And Breeze, I wanted you to I know you're good at breaking down film. Break down that last play that Golden State called. It's called a hammer set.
Which is actually named after Darvin Ham.
And Brian called it out.
Well, because a lot of teams run it in those moments. The thing is, I don't necessarily like that play set being called when you need a three, because really what it's set up to do is put a team in a bind, and you're hoping two guys, you can get either a wide open layup, right? Or with a wide open three with the miscommunication, two guys follow the ball, and then now he can kick to somebody who's wide open. First of all, it's way too common. Like LeBron immediately knew what it was. Immediately. And the Lakers had already decided. You could see they had decided to switch. They were switching everything.
Well, he remembered it from 5 years ago.
Well, he remembered.
Yeah, he was pointing out every switch.
But everybody's run it. It's so common. And the head coach you're coaching against is named after him because they ran it. And then, but they were switching everything. You see on the backside action, LeBron and Anthony Davis switched. Anthony Davis was already moving that way. LeBron did point it out. AD was already moving that way. They already knew what was up. Dennis at the top switched. And Dennis challenging Draymond at the rim, I'll live with that when they need a three. And then now he has nowhere to kick it. He needs to just keep it in place. So I thought it was a poor play call by Steve. I thought he could come up with something better than that.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, so do we think Steve Kerr's blown it? Because he's not making the right. He's not going deeper in his bench. I think there's at least two more guys he could pull off that bench. Kuminga, he could give you good minutes defensively.
Jonathan Kuminga is going to shrink the floor. He hasn't been shooting well, and you don't want to go. Their most successful lineup against the Lakers has been a small lineup. Draymond at the 5. Plus minus, which plus minus is not a great stat to look at. Their best plus minus has been a small lineup. You put Kuminga back in there, that's going to make life easier. Now the Lakers can play a Rui. We can match you if you go bigger. It's harder for the Lakers to match smaller. That's why Lonnie has had to play more, because the guards have to work so much against these smaller lineups. I don't think playing Kuminga is the answer.
Yeah, but even with that being said, you played Gary Payton Jr. 2 minutes in the fourth. You started him. So if you're gonna start him for the majority of the game, why not finish the game with him? You can't,
because if you need shooting, you're not gonna trust him. You rather trust Moody. Moody's a much better shooter than Gary Payton. That's why when they started Gary Payton, I'm like, that's counteractive to playing JaMychal Green, because JaMychal Green can shoot the three much better than Gary Payton can. So I was wondering why they did it, but they did it defensively to take D'Lo out of the game, which, check the box, you did that. You needed to counteract. You need to slow down D'Lo. Gary Payton slowed down D'Lo. Okay, cool.
Next man up.
There's a lot of
somebody else goes out.
There's been a lot of give and get with Steve.
Oh man,
hey,
it's been a very
shout out Ham. He's a rookie coach, and Steve Kerr is the mastermind of adjustments. He's going to always make adjustments game in, game out. I think for the most part, he stuck to his guns, and he's made small adjustments, but nothing egregious. So
yeah, shot the scam.
All right.
And then we got to keep, we got to.
I got Lakers in 5.
Okay.
What do we got?
Lakers in 6.
Lakers in 6. All right, next matchup.
I think Warriors get this game.
So
I'm still going 7 games.
Warriors in 7.
7. Oh,
still got Warriors in 7.
Yeah, I was telling moms real quick. I thought it would be really interesting if now Steph flips the table. Like he blew a 3-1 lead. If he gets LeBron back, I think it would be great script writing for the NBA.
Terrible. It'd be horrible.
Great script.
Sure. Suns Nuggets 2-2.
No.
3-2. I'm sorry, 3-2. The Nuggets they took one
Dennis
last
on
night.
the table.
Yeah,
I was getting nervous.
the Joker passed Wilt Chamberlain for the most triple doubles by a center in postseason history with 10. He's essentially just unguardable. For me, DeAndre Ayton got to do something. Got pinch him. Get some. He hasn't gotten 10 rebounds in one game. At least do that. You're not gonna get 20 points a game, but
the only thing that boy can do right
be
now is go back
physical,
to Arizona,
grab
and
some
get his
rebounds, something. You know, KD and Booker can only do so much. They really can. There's nobody else on the bench that's going to help him out. CP3, we don't know if he's coming back. Are the Suns in trouble?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one more game when they're going fishing. So
Still got two of the best scorers in the league.
yeah, which we saw, those 2 games, but I guess in a weird way, like they're expending a lot of energy and time.
Yeah.
Like they're doing a lot to beat Denver, and it seems like when Denver wins, they're not trying. It doesn't look like they're trying very hard.
They're getting easy buckets.
They're getting very easy buckets where we're watching, Book have to drop 47, KD have to do this. Like they're doing amazing things. Where Denver's is like, yeah, we'll just play our regular game.
Yeah, even though the Joker had 53 a couple nights
and
ago.
it seemed like it was. I thought he just dropped 37. I'm
It was the
being
easy
dead.
50 ball.
It looked like the easiest 50 I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Role players usually don't play well on the road. The Phoenix Suns have to win another game on the road. Last night on the road, Game 5, 4 bench players got double-digit minutes. None of them had double-digit points. What are your role players going to do in a Game 7? Because I think they will force a Game 7.
Me too.
What are those guys going to do on the road in Denver?
Pump, you got it going 7?
Nut up. Nah, it's done in 6.
Sheesh.
Wow. All right, the Philadelphia Sixers and the Boston Celtics. Celtics are in trouble, but we've seen this last year. They were down 3-2 against the Bucks and came back and won it in 7. I don't think that's the case this year. Embiid looks like he's slowly getting healthy again. He didn't have a knee brace on last night. He took it off and had a great game. Harden is starting to be more aggressive, and the guys like what's his name? The third guy on
Tyrese
Maxey. If he drops 30. I don't see them winning another game. And Philly is a great defensive team. And shout out to Doc. On 26 possessions, he switched to a zone. And Boston has trouble scoring against the zone. They're 27% from the field against zone. And on 26 possession, he switched to a zone. So they're doing a lot of things to kind of irritate Tatum and those other guys on that team. I got them closing it out in 6.
This has actually been a fun series. It's been a fun series to watch. I think it's done. I think we mentioned in Game 1 when Embiid was out and Harden did what he did, who was the guy that stepped up? It's Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
So I told you, if you can get that same kind of production from him with Embiid, with James Harden, Philly's going to be hard to beat. I don't see Boston pushing it 7. I think Philly can close it out. I wouldn't mind seeing this series go 7 though.
Malcolm Brogdon has 7 points. Can't happen. The Boston Celtics cannot have Malcolm Brogdon going 7 points. Same thing I just said about Phoenix. Boston, nobody off the bench had double-digit points. Danuel House had 10 for Philly. Who's it? Exact. Danuel House, the one who got kicked out of the bubble for being a goofball, got cut off his team. Danuel. It's not Daniel. Danuel.
Damn, Daniel.
He had 10.
White Vans.
Right, back again.
Back in the game with the white fans.
Yeah.
Malcolm Brogdon can't have 7 points.
26 minutes, 7 points.
Can't have it.
Man, it comes down to the law firm, Tatum and Brown. You got to.
They scored. They had good games.
But I felt like it wasn't as fluid as it should be. Yeah, they're going to get buckets, but I think the 1-2 game between them have to be a lot more fluid for them to win.
Oh, and also I think both coaches are mid, by the way.
Super mid.
Yeah.
That's fine.
You shot at Doc, no shout out from me.
Yeah, I knew nothing was coming from you.
Doc did a good job last game, man.
Sure.
All right, the game we're currently watching, I'm sure it's not that hot in the building. The climate should be good.
Man. It could be
Temperature is
humid,
great. The Knicks against the Heat. Heat are surprisingly up 3-1.
Is it surprising?
It is. I thought before this series we said this would be a good matchup.
Well, it's surprising that it's 3-1, but not surprising that the Heat are up.
No, not surprising that the Heat are up, but surprising that it being 3-1. I think the Knicks, they've brought out everything they could. Julius Randle is back. He's just throwing shots up. They just need to trade him at this point because he's not that guy, and he's trying to be that guy. The offense really should go through Jalen Brunson. I think Heat close it out tonight, man.
Which I think I need to pull an unk and apologize too. I think at the beginning of the season, when was it this season the Knicks traded for Jalen Brunson this offseason?
Yeah, they picked him up this offseason.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, what's that doesn't move the needle for anything. So I apologize, Jalen.
I think I doubled down on that with you.
Yeah, so I mean,
I'm not apologizing, but
let me walk that. I gotta walk that back.
Still
a little
losing.
Bit. Yeah, I mean, the Knicks just had a really good second quarter. Actually, off of Julius Randle was doing some good things. I don't think it's sustainable.
No,
it doesn't seem like it's been sustainable this whole series, and Jimmy's been Jimmy. So, I mean, it's a 3-point game. They just scored 36 points in that second quarter, and they went into halftime up by 3. Yeah. I think Miami can get whatever they want to from the Knicks right now.
I don't think Randall's been bad. I know some people feel like he's been that, but if you look at the stats in 3 games, 20 points, 10 points, 25 points. Obviously, the 10-point game, you can't have it. But he shot 61% from the field last game. They lost. In the 10-point game, he shot 26%. Can't have that. So that one bad game. But then he shot 44% from the field, 33% from 3. Julius Randle hasn't been bad. Well, it's just not enough.
And it's the shots that he's taking. Yeah, he's making shots, but look at a lot of the shots that he's taking, the rest of the team is just watching him play ISO basketball. He slows down the pace of the game.
But if he's making them, but that's also Tibbs. They want to play defense. They want to slow down the pace. They're not a run and gun team by any means. Tibbs is never going to have a run and gun team.
No, not run and gun, but slowing down. My definition of slowing down the game is just stopping in the half court, and the rest of the team is watching to see what you're going to do.
But if he's scoring, it's fine. To me, that's not the issue to me. The issue to me is they just don't have enough. And other random guys for the Heat who got nothing else better to do than try to make a name for themselves are showing up. Why is Max Strus giving y'all buckets like this? Who's Cody Martin? Who is he?
Yeah, Chris Martin's younger cousin.
Gabe Vincent?
Shout out to Gabe.
What do we?
I don't have Vincent.
See, but you see what I'm saying? Haywood. Who is Haywood?
We know who Kyle Lowry is.
Trash. Come on, Trash Lowry. Those guys are showing up, and these other guys for the Knicks aren't showing up. When the last time somebody called out Emmanuel Quickly's name?
No,
where he been at?
We haven't seen a Rose sighting.
Josh Hart put up 26 in that game, went off in the last series against Cleveland. Josh is playing defense. What points?
He just got bounced out of this game.
He got tossed?
I think it was an injury.
I know he got a flagrant.
He's been dealing with injuries.
Yeah. He put a flagrant, then all of a sudden he was walking to the back. So.
Oh, well, I ain't gonna lie, he's cooked.
Kind of like the Knicks.
Yeah,
the Knicks
I think they cooked.
All right, they close it out. Heat close it out tonight?
I think so.
If not,
Miami.
Yeah, if not, it don't go past 6.
Wait, is it in Miami?
Right now, they are
this would be in New York.
Yeah, they're in Miami right now.
Are they?
I think so.
No,
this got to be game 5. Are you sure? No, it's game 5. It's got to be in New York. New York's the highest seed. Miami barely got in.
What's the temperature you said in New York right now?
64.
Okay.
64.
So
right, they should be nice.
They should be okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's a crisp 64.
Is it brisk?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, Heat in 5 across the board.
All right.
Real quick, give me the top 5 threats to win the title in order.
Basketball?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Who are the favorites to win the title?
Moving
forward.
To win as far as personal opinion or Vegas?
Personal opinion.
I'll go. Give me Philly, number 1 right now. I'll put LA number 2. Give me Denver number 3. Phoenix 4. Phoenix 4, Heat 5. I think because I think Boston's done.
I like that list. I don't have a gripe against that list. I would put LA number 1, not because they're my team.
Over Philly.
You know how I feel about a deep team.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Pump.
I don't want to steal Bree's list. I got Philly 1, LA 2. I think I might have the Heat at 3.
That's not your Nuggets. Your Nugs.
I think I might have the Heat at
you
3.
want that steak dinner?
Right.
I'll give up the steak dinner for Jimmy to get a ring.
He's not getting a ring.
Give me Denver. Give me Denver 4, and then give me Phoenix at 5.
The fact that Boston's not up there is scary. That's sad for them.
And Phoenix was a lot of people's favorites going into the playoffs.
Of course they were. They doubted LeBron. 0.2% chance to make the playoffs at one point in the season.
I love it. Stop it. I love it. All right, that's all, folks. Once again, the man to my right, the maestro himself, Pump.
Yes, sir.
And the man to my left, the one and only. He's as cool as the other side of the pillow. Breeze. And I'm Monk.
Yerp.
We are out.